Hi, I'm James Davis.
And I'm Claire Davis.
We're the Midlife Mentors, here to lift the lid on how to achieve health and happiness.
The balanced, no-nonsense way.
Hello and welcome to the final episode in this season. I can't believe we're here already.
How did that happen? And we've been doing this for 7 weeks. This is the 8th week of season 2.
I guess then we were back in the UK, then we travelled back through France, we've been in Ibiza for a while. Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, we're just about to start some more retreats again. The last of the season in Ibiza for 2019, but we've already got some bookings for May next year.
I know, next year is filling up already.
If you want to join us, go to our website and have a look at the dates and see if you can come out and see us in person.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about that at the end. Today, we thought we'd talk about us, which is very indulgent of us. But our story, basically, because we've had a lot of people contacting us and asking us but what is your story? Like, how did you guys meet?
Yeah.
What's your background? What's your qualifications? So we thought it might be rather nice just to
give you an insight into our lives.
Talk about all that.
How we got here. Because if you're anything like me, and James, I love hearing people's stories. So although it feels a little self-indulgent, we're going to go with it anyway.
It does feel a bit odd talking about yourself. But anyway, we're going to give it our best shot here. So, who are we, first of all? Well, obviously, we're Claire and James.
So weird.
I know. I've been often asked, how have you always been into fitness? This is a question we've got asked a lot. Have you always been into fitness? Have you always been, in shape, slim? And my answer to that is...
We'll probably do a tag team, by the way.
Yeah, we'll have to do a tag team on this. My answer is yes. I mean, I was very fortunate. I went to a school that was very...
private school.
Physically orientated and sports orientated. So I got to do a lot of sport, like rugby, rowing, judo, fencing.
Fencing.
Yeah.
You can tell you went to private school, can't you? Fencing.
But I'm so thankful because it was amazing. And of course, apart from playing those sports, we had all the training that went around it. So at a very early age, we were exposed to quite intense kind of circuit-based training for rowing and rugby, endurance and strength training. So I was into that. But my interesting thing is I was a very fat kid. So when I arrived at school, I was pretty overweight. I took a lot of stick for that. And then obviously with all the sport I was doing and all the training, I shot up and shed that weight. And now I'm really careful. I'm not really careful actually. I don't really monitor that. But I just don't put it back on because I know now I've educated myself how to stay in shape and how to keep that extra fat off when I don't want it. Very briefly before we go to Claire, and then I went to university, dropped team sports, took up boxing for a while, carried on my gym training because I loved it, and then pretty much carried that on all my life. So I've always carried on, fitness training and going to the gym. So that's me.
So my story is completely different. I went to an all-girls grammar school, and they used to make us wear the most awful, disgusting PE knickers. I mean, what they were thinking, they were not flattering in any sense.
Bet you never had to swim naked.
Oh, James. Let's not talk about you naked swimming by choice. No. So I hated sport. I absolutely hated sport, not just because of the knickers, but anything involving sport, I just felt really self-conscious. I wasn't a popular girl at school at all, in any sense of the word. I was bullied a little bit at school. I think a lot of us are, but yeah, it just kind of made me go into my shell quite a lot. I was quite an outgoing person when I went to secondary school, and then just really didn't enjoy sport at all. And then I actually just got, I had quite a lot of puppy fat anyway. I just got bigger and bigger and bigger. So I've never been a inherently slim person. It's not in my DNA to be particularly slim. And yeah, wasn't doing any exercise at all. So I kind of got into it in my early 20s, shed some of that stuff, that weight, and some of the kind of feeling of being embarrassed to go out in sportswear and do exercise and stuff. So I shed that, and at university I started exercising a little bit, but I have to say it wasn't until I'd say my late 20s, I got into doing anything in the gym, any exercise really, and also completely falling in love with weights. That was my passion. That's when I really, really got into fitness.
And now at 40, if you don't mind me saying, you're in the shape of your life.
Yeah, it's good. And this is where kind of my passion comes from, is actually, it wasn't, I've yo-yoed with my weight I really did for a long time. Anyone that's listened to this has kind of caught onto that story. You know, I was very, very ill and too slim at one point, and at the same time yo-yoing to, you know, where I was 2 dress sizes bigger than I am now. So I really have been through a journey with my body image.
Which I think is really useful for people to know as well, because like so many of us are on that journey.
And they just think you naturally look like this and haven't had to work or haven't been through your kind of difficult times and your demons with your body, but we both have actually, even you.
And we both continue to work at it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So why did we get into this? How did we end up being the midlife mentors, doing podcasts, running retreats, being PTs, coaches? Oh, I guess for us, just a passion. And for me personally, it was like I've always been fascinated by human behaviour and the human condition. So we're going to talk about our qualifications in a minute, but I kind of went probably more down the emotional and mental route first, even though I was doing all my physical training and physical stuff. And it's kind of, I think for Claire and I, it's been quite sort of going circular, and then getting involved more in the physical. So when we started doing the training here, it was all very physical based, but then reintroducing a lot of those concepts and learnings that we had from the more psychological, emotional, spiritual stuff that we'd done before, and then building on that. So why we got into this basically fascinates us. We love growing ourselves, love seeing other people grow and improve, and it just excites us.
I think for me, it was a lot around. I became a personal trainer around the time that I was going through my divorce, and actually, it just gave me, as we know, it's an amazing antidepressant. Actually, I've just written a piece about this. It's an amazing antidepressant. It's a great way to lift your mood. Exercise, lifting, it makes you start feeling actually like you're back in control of your life. And there's a real kind of mental aspect that came with that with me. So that's why I actually felt so passionate about helping other women that, especially at midlife, that may have had children, gone through difficult times. And I was hooked as soon as I started doing my PTing and seeing the impact it had on women, not physically actually, but mentally. I was like, this is actually what it did for me when I was going through a really, really difficult time, is what I can now help other women do.
That's amazing. And
loved it.
It is something that gives us a real kick. I mean, people often say it, but we actually mean it. There's nothing like, you know, someone just like hugging you with tears of joy because you've changed something for them, or the messages we get quite emotional, don't we?
Yeah, and I think, again, it is because we are in our heads so much. I know we always talk about mindset tools and putting in the mindset reps, but what we do is cause ourselves a lot of anxiety and stress by worrying about the past and worrying about the future, neither of which one we can do anything about. And actually exercising and being in the moment, being in your body at that moment in time, is just, it takes the focus away from just the anxiousness and the stress and puts you in your body. That's why I did it. I loved it.
So we alluded there to kind of like our earlier training being more in the coaching, psychological, emotional realm. So we get asked a lot, is like, you know, what are your qualifications? And obviously when we were just doing our fitness stuff, it's we both got, you know, group exercise instructor or group fitness instructor. We're both like level 3 PTs.
Nutrition advisors.
Got a load of stuff that goes along with that, like
pre and postnatal. I'm
stuff.
pre and postnatal. I don't use it much, but I am pre and postnatal.
So lots of exercise stuff, obviously. But then my background, as I said, fascinated by the human condition. So having got to the end of school, didn't really know what I wanted to do. So thought a great degree that would fascinate me would be social psychology. So I did a BA social psychology.
Which I'd have loved to have done.
Yeah, it was good. It was interesting. I loved it. But hadn't really thought much beyond the end of those good times at university.
That's so unlike you. That is so unlike you. James is a Sagittarius, by the way, and he just fires off 1,000 arrows without thinking about it.
So got to my final year, and suddenly I was like...
It's one of his gorgeous qualities.
Oh my goodness, I might have to go and work or something. So
oh no.
I did an MSc in applied psychology.
Just so we didn't have to go into the real world.
And then I went travelling for a bit. I did like a load of like odd jobs, you know, stuff like warehouse work, bricky. all that kind of
Dyed
stuff to
his
get
hair
money
blonde,
together.
became
Went
a
off travelling
surfer.
around America for a few months.
Your mum and dad were horrified with your blonde hair.
And then I came back and started work in the corporate world, which we're going to cover in a minute. But and then along the way of my corporate development, I also did an MBA. So there we are. I'm MBA, a Master of Psychology, Social Psychology, NLP qualified, Hypnosis qualified, and all that jazz. But Claire has equally impressive credentials.
Well, yeah, but it's not. I started off in. I went to grammar school, and I was just like, yeah, I know what I want to do. And I actually went and did a PR degree, weirdly enough, because I just love journalism.
Degree in PR.
Oh, he always does this. He always has to be competitive. If you see us exercising together, you'll understand what we're like. So I went actually and did PR because I love journalism, and I just, decided that was the way forward for me. Lo and behold, though, as soon as I actually did my year out, my degree had a year out, I went and worked at Harrods, and I absolutely hated PR. I absolutely hated it. I mean, with an absolute passion. It drained the living soul out of me. And when I qualified, I went into, obviously, PR because I'd pigeonholed myself wrongly. Not wrongly, rightly. I never regret any decision. It's got me to where I am now with a lot of skills, actually, in marketing and PR. But I was just like, absolutely hated it. And I did a post on this on Facebook, on my personal page a while ago, about the shame and the rejection of when you get fired. So I wanted to say out loud, I actually got fired a few times. And, you know, that was really, really hard for me at the time. And now I want to share that actually the reason for that is because I was never meant and destined to A, work for anyone else, but B, to not do something that I truly, truly believed in. And fashion PR and all that kind of stuff, it just wasn't my thing. So, basically, I was doing my PR, and then because I was trying to escape it, I was also doing qualifications in life coaching at about 24, so I was very young doing that. Then I became a stress management consultant and business coach for Microsoft, all the time still dipping in and out of PR because that's where the money was. So I know what it's like to be doing a career just because of the money, basically, and a mortgage and the financial restrictions you put on yourself. But yeah, stress management qualifications, NLP, all that kind of stuff. So James and I kind of...
Quite similar.
We're really... Well, yeah, we are. We are and we're not. But we have very similar qualifications and they complement each other.
Yeah. So I guess you touched on there your career, Claire, and that's something... that comes up a lot for us clients, like, oh, you know, have you always done this?
No.
Or, you know,
have
maybe...
you always known what you wanted to do?
Yeah, it wasn't what you to do. I never knew what I wanted to do. At
I never
school, I
knew
didn't
what
know.
I wanted to
At
do.
university, I only did masters because I didn't know what I wanted to do.
And because you were lazy. No, I'm joking.
And then I get people's like, oh, you know, you just don't know what it's like. Well, here, let's put you right on that.
We really do.
Claire and I both
Goodness.
did I did like 15, 16 years in corporate in London. I didn't start out like that, however. So I'd got all my psychology qualifications. I was good to go, but my passion was twofold. It was going raving, which was big back in those days, and writing. So I really wanted to be a magazine writer because that was back
I love this story.
before digital magazines. The printed media was still big, so I used to plug away, writing articles and stuff. And I was really fortunate. My two likes of like house music and writing intersected because the Ministry of Sound, the legendary London club, was launching a new media project, which they were very secretive about. And they asked me to come in. Then they told me, thank you very much. We don't need you. And then a few weeks later, I got a call saying, we need you to come in. And turns out they're putting together their own magazine all around clubbing and lifestyle. And because I'd already been writing those articles, I knew lots of the promoters in London. I've been going out doing flyering at all the clubs. I knew all the clubs. I got the job as clubs editor. So I was fortunate.
We couldn't have been more different.
Yeah.
Right? If we'd have met earlier, I mean, I would have just taken one look at it and thought, you are a mess.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I mean, rubbish pay, a lot of fun. Loved it. So I was basically like producing media, and from there, you know, obviously the internet develops, and we started producing content for the internet as well, short videos, writing for the internet, and then I basically scaled the corporate thing and shifted more from content production to management to strategy. So by the end, my last two roles were News International, heading the team that launched all the mobile sites for The Sun, The Times, News of the World, when it still existed. And then on to MTV Emerging Networks, looking after their assets for Comedy Central, Nickelodeon, MTV across Middle East and emerging markets. So that was me. And then I decided to give it all up and move to Ibiza.
Yeah, so that's...
But I did do my time in London, so I know the pressures, I know the long hours, I know jobs with lots of travel, where you're chasing
the money and the
goals and objectives and budget plans and stuff like that.
And just feeling trapped, basically, by a life that you've invested so much in, actually, financially, mentally, you know, you've studied for it. And yeah, I mean, I know James, I always say James is blessed, and I'm so pleased he had this. You absolutely loved what you did.
I loved it.
Absolutely loved what you did.
Great team of people as well.
And, you know, I come from a background of actually just, I mean, I'm not even joking. I used to cry on the tube and on the top of the escalator and actually feel like I was putting a mask on my face every time I went into work. And it's not a nice place to be. And one thing I would say before we go on to our next point,
I used to cry on a Monday morning, mainly because I hadn't been to bed for 3 days.
That's nice. One thing I really would say is, listen, if you haven't found your thing yet, I knew it wasn't my thing, and I was constantly trying to find my thing for a really long time. At points, I invested thousands in my development in all these different areas, and none of them really took off and came into any fruition. And at the time, you do feel like you're going to give up and that you're never destined to find something that you really love to do. One thing I'm getting emotional. One of the things I would say to you, if you are listening to this and as a midlifer you haven't found your thing yet, please don't quit. Please don't quit finding your thing. You've come, that gnawing feeling inside of you that you're not living your fullest potential. Don't shut it down. Try and reignite it. Try and spark it, no matter what it takes. Because a life not living on your terms just seems like a real waste. And I'm so pleased I didn't give up with all the pain, the tears. I'm even going to say as much to my relationships. Some of my relationships failed because I was so sad and miserable not doing what I loved. And yeah, it can impact so much. So just a little emotional one there from me to you. Don't quit, please.
I know that is an important one because we are brought up on fairy tales, and people always held up as examples of, like, you know, they had this idea to do this thing and it was an instant success. But actually, if you scratch the surface, those are really few and far between. You have to try a lot of things and fail a lot of things. Like, I think it was Thomas Edison, you know, how did you invent the light bulb? I failed 10,000 times first, you know. We learn from our failures, and yeah, I've had them, Claire's had them, we've had them collectively together. we learn from them, and
we
you keep
really
going.
have had our failures together. We're going to talk about, like, actually getting together, but we've had our failures in the business together.
That's nice. Nicely linked in there.
We've tried loads of things, and, you know, our business that have failed. But I'm getting emotional now, so we're going to move on to the next thing.
So we're going to touch on basically how 38 Degrees North came about, which is was our retreats company. So I've talked about my corporate career. 2011, so I was to jump out, move to Ibiza, buy a gym business, which was a huge mistake because
there's cooked the books.
They cooked the books, yeah. But out of that, necessity, as Mother mentioned, was desire to launch, before I came anyway, desire to launch fitness holidays in Ibiza. And at the time, everyone told me, you're crazy. And I was trying to take it to market. It's like, you know, Ibiza's the party island. No one wants to come there to do fitness. Well, you know, today we sit here and the island is awash with fitness retreats.
Oh, God. It really is. But good luck to them.
Yeah.
You know, some of them are doing so well.
But what I say is, you know, since its launch, obviously, I've changed a lot. Claire's come on board. We changed a lot. It's developed and changed, and it's a completely different beast today to the one it was.
It's a beast. So that kind of leads us on to, you're probably thinking, oh, Claire wasn't around right at the beginning. No, I wasn't, people. I wasn't. I came on board about 4 years ago, but I've known James for about 10. Is it about 10 years?
Maybe a bit. 10,
maybe a little less. So I had friends that lived over here. I'd come over here. I was doing a lot of my coaching at the time, and I came over and helped on a retreat with coaching, and then friends introduced us. But you were married, and I was married at the time as well.
You were.
So we're really open about our story because I certainly have, way more than James. I've had quite a few relationship disasters. You know, like, it's been a long journey to find, and I'm not a massive fan of this phrase, but when you find it, you find it. And James is my twin flame, and we are, you know, we were meant to be together. He's just Oh, I've known him for lifetimes, if you believe in all of that stuff. But before I get all gushy, yeah, we were both in very, very different places. Literally, location-wise, I was living back in the UK. And then when your relationship...
Yeah, I mean, briefly what happened, at the end of 2014, both of us, unknown to each other, our marriages broke down.
Yeah.
Neither of us, it was our fault, particularly. But we didn't know
we
that.
take responsibility for elements of it.
We do, yeah, of course. There's always bits you fix and change.
You learn stuff about yourself.
We didn't know for a few months, did we?
No.
And then I think your friend here mentioned that, did you know that Claire's separated now? I was like, oh, no, I didn't actually. That's quite interesting information.
And then, this is great. So I was just being a very, very difficult person at the time. I was just, I was difficult to tie down, let's just say that. So James was being very, very sweet. When I came over here, he was showing interest, and I basically wasn't. I was definitely on send, not receive. And we developed a friendship, kind of got together, went on a few dates. I treated him incredibly badly, and which I do regret. But at the same time, James and I always say this, it brought us to where we are now with such a deep understanding of the foundations our relationship was built on, to be honest.
Yeah, so Claire was very brave after having kind of disappeared. Beginning of 2016, I was over in London and Claire said, I'll come meet you. I was I've heard that before.
It was that bad, guys. It was that bad.
But she did actually turn up.
Oh, no.
And it just... Basically, it went from there, beautiful relationship. And the thing is, it's been amazing. And I was saying to a friend I knew from way back in Ibiza, I haven't seen for ages, it's like these kind of twin flame deep relationships are so amazing because you're so in love, but at the same time, that person is holding up a mirror to all the parts of yourself that you need challenging over. So we went through quite turbulent...
That's an understatement.
18 to 24 months,
yeah,
right?
It's an understatement, guys. Like, anyone that thinks that this is just, that looks at us and goes, oh, that obviously they got together, it's just been plain sailing. It hasn't, and we will always want to be so honest about that. It literally triggers every dark part of yourself in each other. And, that's when when you're out the other side of it and you have stayed the distance.
Exactly.
And you're in a place of complete unconditional respect, not just love, respect and love and honour for what you've been through and what you've come out as. It's unbelievable. And, there are so many times, even though we've been together a short amount of time, there were so many times where we could have just done the easier thing and walked away.
Definitely.
So, and then that was compounded, obviously, by me coming on board with 38 and it evolving and changing and trying lots of different things. That's the thing, we weren't just getting together, we were running a business together.
And full on,
so it's everything. And I moved here for James, and so everything was very intense. And that's where we'll go back to talking about the business, is we knew we wanted to evolve it and change it, so it was really ours.
Yeah.
And we made a whole ton of... I'm not going to call them mistakes.
No, because we learned from them. They were learnings, I think.
Yeah, but we tried things. That's what we were saying. We tried so many things and then they flopped. Spent thousands on certain parts of the business and then they flopped. And you have to dust yourself off. And you've got no one outside you, because you're in the relationship together, to go, oh no, let's see it like this, this and this. So sometimes you're just really broken. True.
It's like a pressure cooker situation, but then, what can come out of that pressure cooker at the end is the most amazing meal, and that is what has happened.
You just described me as a meal. I'm not quite sure what meal I am, to be honest.
No, but we did put ourselves to it. We were just let's throw all in, let's move in together, let's run a business together, let's try and reinvent the business while we're still learning about each other, learning about ourselves, and it was challenging, but in the most wonderful way, and to come to the other side and have what we have now is incredible. And
hopefully it inspires other people to know that we, I've had some terrible relationships, and I'd given up.
And we found each other late in life as well, right?
Yeah, and I had completely given up. I mean, I actually thought that, I'll be really honest with you, it sounds like worries me, but I thought I was not worthy, not lovable, I was too much. I did a post on this the other day, just too much to handle, because that's what I've always been told, you're just a bit too much. because I aspire to be the best version of myself, that can sometimes be quite difficult to be around because you're constantly challenging yourself and questioning things. But so we hope it inspires other people that it is out there. And it only comes about actually when you start to love yourself. So James and I had time where we weren't together before we got together to really understand the gnarly bits of ourselves before we came into the relationship. But then obviously triggered it all in each other again.
Hey, listen, this isn't a relationship podcast, but the thing is, like, relationships, like, it's never a finished thing. It's never a done deal. You have to work on them all the time. That doesn't mean working just on the relationship. It means working on yourself as well.
Yeah, I love that. Totally.
And you need to invest the time in it because you know what, you're worth it and your relationship is worth it.
So let's talk about our mission, I suppose. You know, like what's our mission? Well, I think you know what our mission is. You know, we've talked about it in so many episodes of these podcasts, but we're really authentic. I hope you know that about us right now. We're so authentic. We're so anti-BS that, you know, we just get so frustrated with you being actually kept in this vicious cycle of, you know, the dieting, the yo-yo dieting, because it's all around misinformation and not being given the right support. It's not rocket science, but that doesn't sell. Here's the thing, like telling you that actually it's quite simple, but giving you the support and the accountability, it doesn't sell, it's not a fad. So everyone's going after the fads and just tying you up in knots, and that's not what we want to do.
No,
we want to be the anti-that. That's our mission, basically.
That's the mission. How do we achieve that mission? Well, currently today, we split our time between Ibiza, London, Ludlow, which some of you won't know, it's a beautiful town in Shropshire, and with retreats in Marbella. So we still run our fitness retreats. They're already filling up for next year, and this year's sold out. So if you're thinking about joining us,
which we're very grateful for.
Yeah, we are very grateful.
You know, so grateful for.
We've got our academy, which is online to the public, which is a way people can basically train with us live. We do like a live workout stream every week. They've got real-time videos, you've got nutrition workshops, you've got meal plans, blah, blah. That also rolls out to a corporate offering. We work with more and more corporates now, delivering like employee wellness programs, and that's a big part of what we're going to be doing going forward.
As part of our platform that James has just been talking about, helping pull people together as part of a community.
Yeah. We have our podcast, of course, that you are listening to. We do our one-on-one coaching with clients.
Which I love.
And we're just about to launch our Midlife Method program.
Yeah, so this is basically, if you've been a hard fan of our podcast and you listen to the Science of Staying Young one, if you haven't, please go and check it out. But it's basically the principles, holistic principles to help midlifers improve their quality of life and live strong, healthy and happy and ensure that, you know, they do live longer. They're like the science of living longer. So our approach is very much science-based, and we're taking the principles that we've talked about in this podcast and we have put them in a step-by-step program.
Yeah, so basically it's like short, effective workouts. So, you know, you won't be spending longer than like 45 minutes to an hour in the gym, but you can split them into that. You'll have like a HIIT part and a resistance part,
and you can do stuff
which can be at home or gym. We've got options for both. Complete done for your meal plans. There's going to be coaching resources in there. Of course, it's all supported by group coaching calls every week as well. So we're really excited about this. The beta program, which is going to be a full week to get feedback, is launching on the 30th of September.
So we're doing that at a really reduced price, actually, because we really want it to be tip top. And, you know, we want to take people through it, as James said, and get your feedback. So that starts on the 30th of September. So if you're interested in that, just pop us an email, info@themidlifementors.com.
That's
right.
right.
info@themidlifementors.com. That starts on the 30th of September. But, you know, basically it's all around, you know, physical, mental well-being and emotional well-being, mental resilience around stress, but all built around the midlife body, okay? How it's different, how it's evolving, the hormones, all tailored to the midlife body, because the one-size-fits-all approach that you see everywhere else just ain't going to cut the mustard.
True. So that's that. You can also check out the details at themidlifementors.com.
Oh, yeah, the website.
Yeah, the website. Which we're going to talk about right in the future. Let's talk about the future. What is coming up? What are we doing next? Obviously, this is the end of this season of podcast. There will be a short break, but then we will be back with another season for sure, because we love doing
it's
this.
just fun. Fun.
We've already got some great ideas for guests on the next one as well. Haven't we? Some great topics.
Oh, we'd love to know which ones you've enjoyed this season. Let us know.
Yeah.
Please feedback.
As we mentioned, we're going to be doing more corporate work. So we're going to be based like in London a lot more, doing corporate work and doing webinars and doing virtual corporate work. And next year we'll be launching a midlife method retreat.
Yes.
And we're in talks with a couple of 5-star locations in Europe. So it'll be like a long weekend away, small group with Claire and I, basically deep diving into
the principles,
our methodologies.
Yeah.
So keep your eyes peeled for
giving
that.
you the education, so not just the practical stuff, but the education. You need to know why, and giving you all the mental tools, but all those tools that we use with our clients, with ourselves, all the time to keep us on track, so that we can master midlife and be in control of it. So, oh, by the way, I just need to let you know, on the midlife method, you are allowed alcohol.
Oh, very important. Very important.
Listen, guys, it is important. We
Everything in balance.
Well, we know what the questions are now. Can I drink and can I have some treats? Of course you can. We wouldn't expect you to do anything we don't do.
So listen, if you want to keep in touch with us in the meantime, in between podcasts, the best way to do that is sign up to our newsletter. So if you go to 38nacademy.com, that's a 3 and 8 and N for November academy.com, you'll see a pop up there. You can drop your details in, get our newsletter. You also got links through there to our retreats website, 38 Degrees North, and of course the midlifementors.com. And then we've got 38 Degrees North on Facebook and the Midlife Mentors on Facebook. A lot of places where you can touch base with us.
Yeah, we're streamlining it again. Like we're learning, we're growing, we're seeing what works, and that's what happens with businesses. It evolves. So we're moving obviously more into the corporate stuff and the midlife stuff. Yeah. So, but that's why we've got lots of little bits and pieces here and there, like Del Boy.
Yeah, not like Del Boy, not more professional. Well, we would love to hear from you. We'd love to get your thoughts, your feedback on this. If you want anything from us, drop us a line and just say thank you for being with us on this journey. It's been
phenomenal,
incredible.
Your support means so much to us. We're actually blown away by the response we've had to this podcast.
Yeah, and we'll be back very soon.
Sending so much love. Hope you've enjoyed our story. Mwah.
Yeah.
You've been listening to the Midlife Mentors with Claire and James Davis.
We'd love to hear from you. So drop us a line at info@themidlifementors.com with any questions or topic suggestions.
And make sure you join us on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. You can find us under the Midlife Mentors.
Yeah.